Joining us now on Encounter is the co-author of Rebuilt and Tools for Rebuilding as well, Tom Corcoran. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Kevin. Thanks for having me.
We had a great time talking with Father Michael White earlier in the show, and we just want to pick up on the conversation too, and talking more about the books. And I just wanted to ask you about how you got involved in writing with Father White and how that sort of process began, and how it's been for you since a year and a half ago.
Well, the process of the book was just, we felt God was blessing some of the things we were doing in our church and some strategies he was doing, that we were doing. And we had read some other books from other church leaders that had been incredibly helpful to us, encouraging to us. Somewhat sometimes when you're facing struggles at a church and working in a church and there's problems, you think you're crazy or there's something wrong with you. And just to hear the frustrations from other authors was encouraging to us, and we want to do the same thing for other members in a church or other church staff members. Yeah. The last year has been great. It's been amazing just to meet people across the country and to see that people are hungry to make their churches work better and to be really effective in reaching people.
How important is it to have leaders in the parish, to someone like yourself to stand up and say, hey, we got to get this going, or things need to be different?
It's crucial.
Yeah.
It all rises and falls on leadership, I think. I think leaders in a church and people who stand up, and I think people hear leaders and they think that must mean the pastor, and of course the pastor is very important, and the church staff members, and of course the church staff members are very important, but also leaders across the board. That our parish is where we are today, and there's been growth because there's been people in the pews who've stepped up to leadership, who've given their time and their energy to serve and lead in many different ways, and created layers of leadership that are so important. So I think a lot of times we think leadership means position or title, and it doesn't mean that. It means serving and giving what we have to offer, and as God calls us to give in the places we are, and that leadership makes a difference.
I know sometimes people have a stereotypical view of people that get involved in a parish. Is that true? Is there like more women involved, or are you finding men getting more involved now too, or what's been your experience?
Well, I think we have to, one of the things we talk about in Tools for Rebuilding, we call it widen the gene pool. Yeah. And that was from a professor at Loyola who talked about the monarchs and how the European monarchs and how they all related to each other. And she said, widen the gene pool. And so we say, I think we have to be constantly looking out for new people to get involved. Yeah. And maybe people who would never have thought of themselves as serving at church and volunteering at church, saying, no, every person God called in the scriptures was shocked when God called him or her. God called that person, and Moses especially said, you got the wrong guy, God. I can't lead this mission to bring your people out of Egypt. And so no one thinks they're called that way, but of course God calls every single follower of his, every single Christian to become, to give what they have and to serve. So I think it's a mindset of saying, hey, we need to be involving everyone in our church and constantly widening that gene pool, and that when we do invitation, it's not an invitation that's negative, it's a positive. Hey, you get to be a part of what God is doing.
Yeah, yeah. And you've turned your parish around, and you've gone out and helped other parishes as well. What's the key to keep it? I know when people turn the corner on something and it's thriving a little bit, what's the key to keeping it going, to keep that success alive?
I think momentum, and it all comes down to momentum, and momentum is focused intensity over a long period of time. So I think focus is number one, that you need to return to the things that got you to that point. I think there's tendency for us to get distracted when things are going well, and to lose eye of what got us to that point. So I think it's staying focused, whatever is working, to keep working the systems. Jim Collins talks about good to great, just turning the flywheel over and over again.
And I asked Father White this too, but I want to get your view on what it's been like for you, having the book come out and being able to travel around that country, and to have people come up to you and comment maybe on things that are working in their parish, and what's that feel like for you?
Well, you write a book and you do any of this to have impact and to have a positive impact on people. And so that's incredibly heartening when you hear that something you wrote or you did is now having impact on people, someone you never met, and they read that. And again, to be encouraged to say things are changing in our church. And so that's just an amazing, amazing feeling. And again, I think we all want that. We all want impact in some ways. And I think, again, the people serving your churches, you don't always know the impact you're having, but to keep going and keep serving, because every parish in this country matters.
Yeah. So rebuilt and tools for rebuilding, and I understand maybe there's some working on another book coming up too, but you don't have to say anything if you can't.
I don't know what I'm allowed to say at this point, so I better. Yeah, sometimes it's better to keep quiet. And we do have it in Spanish too.
That's great. Yes, yeah.
I can't say it in Spanish, so.
And people can pick up the book Amazon and any place as well.
Amazon, and then also Barnes and Noble, or anywhere, and Ave Maria Press.
All right. Thank you so much, Tom, for being with us.
Thank you, Kevin.